Yo, vloggers out now. This your boy Farai, and thank you for coming to come true the
I
podcast.
know the vibes. You know the vibes. It's another wonderful episode of the Come True podcast.
Yes, yes,
Once again, we
yes.
don't have our boy Brian with us. He needs to get some weather going on. He doesn't have any electricity. So we had to press on without him. Just keep it in your prayer, guys. I mean, I know this episode gonna come out after, but hopefully he made it through the night. You know what I'm saying?
Man, no, I'll be
But
doing
how
it,
am I
but
feeling, dog?
I feel great. I'm back home, back on the island. The weather was a little sketch, but feels great to be home, man. Feels great to be home. All the trips and everything for my daughter done for now, and got to visit some family in the middle of that. So I feel great. Feel great. What about you?
Congratulations, my brother. It's been a little rough week mentally, except for mental health month. It come like my mental hitting hard this month. It's
Mm,
finals week. Got two more assignments I gotta complete. Nothing too ridiculous. I don't finish the harder assignments. But other
okay.
than that, man, to be honest, everything is everything, man. Everything is cool. It's nice. I'm glad to be here. Glad to come to the pod and have another conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
But
definitely.
without further ado, I have something to get off my chest. I starting to feel like money is controlling the narrative of our lives. And a lot of people, that's what it's seeming right now. It seems like all the conversation is about getting to the money. Nothing is not, let's get to being a family. Let's get to some healthy relationships. Everything is get to the
Hmm,
fucking bag. And I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that is becoming very destructive for the community. I feel that the
definitely.
roots of it is based in the capitalistic system and its lust for profit and lust for hierarchy. And I feel that in the long term is going to have a negative effect on our mental health. What do you think?
In the long term, I mean, I feel like we're already experiencing some of those negative aspects right now. I mean,
True.
go to look at relationships, look at the amount of scenarios where before you even get to know the person properly, people done asking for money. People done saying, I see a scenario just the other day. Um, this man invite this lady out on a date, and she ended up not coming because she said, you need to pay for my hair because you want me to get out. I need to get ready for you. You need to pay for this. You need to pay for that. And the dude was just, I mean, he was playing along with it, but at the end of it, he just was like, yo, this not gonna work because this that's a pretty crazy mentality. Not just that, I mean, so people quick to ask for bills being paid. You don't know this person from nowhere. You know them for 2 days, 3 days. They're quick to ask for money, and it in the career, I mean, people don't go towards passions and things that they're actually interested in if it doesn't pay the amount that they're looking to get paid. They want
Facts.
to be chasing a bag. They want to be getting these high income careers, and that affects their mentality because it might not even be something they love, but just because they pay proper and it's what they want financially based on the economy and the social nature of where we at currently in our community, they willing to make that sacrifice. And in the long term, in the short term, midterms, they end up getting stressed and depressed and have
Facts.
anxiety and all types of different mental health problems because it's not where they necessarily where their heart want to be. So
I completely agree. And I know one of the kickbacks we're gonna get is, oh, the economy is this and the economy is that. And I'm talking in lieu of the economy. Of course, if you are at a point where you have to chase the bag in quotations to be able to make ends meet, then of course that's what you have to do. But I'm talking about once you get to the point and essentially what is the level of comfortable now? I feel like the level of what is comfortable to make you happy and joyous, I think the bar has moved so far
hmm,
based on social media and so forth. I want to call back to something we had talked about on another episode with the eyelash tech. We had spoke about the eyelash tech, where the chicks were saying when they saw the eyelash tech driving this and this kind of house, they are left. And then it was brought to my attention that in the context of the TikTok where the excerpt came from, they were specifically talking about the in that industry where some of these eyelash techs and the female industry, they kind of overcharging. And I have a notion of where that is coming from. I feel like in a lot of industries we overcharging, and I think it comes from a couple of things. For one, like I said before, the capitalistic system in which you just want everything is for profit, and it doesn't necessarily matter who backs that you step on. Is almost incentivized to do anything that you possibly can to make more money. Whether it means, okay, let's say you have an employees and you kind of try to get them the least pay that you could possibly get them to
Yep.
maximize your profit. If you know that if they go over a certain amount of hours, you're going to have to pay them more. You start to get real creative with how you're doing the hours and real creative with the verbiage in your contracts and stuff to try to avoid paying these people appropriately, or in the case of the eyelash, you overcharging to compensate for a lifestyle that you want to live without thinking about the people who coming to you. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I
Right.
know everything will be like charged for what you want, but then at what point do we sit down and tell ourselves we are a part of the problem that we complain about when we talk about landlords overcharging us? I give a personal story. I've had friends try to tell me, and I know that the place that they're coming from and telling me this is a good place. They're not trying to like hurt anybody intentionally, but
Right.
they have told me that I should charge more for the rent I charge my tenants. And I use tenants to do this because I know these people. But they want me to charge more under the premise that I can charge more. And I looked at it like, okay, yes, I could charge more, but I'm doing pretty well for myself. I don't feel like I need any more money unless I was really wanting to chase the Lambo, and I need different money to try to fund this specific lifestyle. But at the same time, if I do that, am I not joining the same landlords that we complain about are charging too much for rent?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Definitely. I mean, I guess the
So
question
if the
is,
shoe, go ahead.
I was saying just, yeah, the question is, when does it become unethical? Is
Exactly.
obviously you own it, it's your asset, you could do what you want with it, but at what point are you, does it switch from you being ethical, getting your appropriate profits, to you then taking advantage just because you have control of the asset? And
And it
I think
comes
it boils down to greed, really. I mean, yes, you have your financial goals, you have the places where you want to reach financially, but at the same time, we are humans in this world together. I'm not saying you have to get free handouts, you have to be ridiculously discounted, but like you said, the amount of profit trying to be made on certain things oftentimes does feel like you're being taken advantage of. And
mhm,
this far beyond just the beauty industry, the cosmetic industry. This is across the board in everything, really.
every
Look at the housing market now. Look at how much automobiles cost now. Used vehicles costing almost as much as new cars now. Look, it's so much things. I mean, and then there are those, I would call them heroes, really, that
industry.
have these $1 million, $1 billion companies, and they would compensate for the loss, and they would absorb any loss associated with increased costs of materials and whatever
Hmm.
on their end, rather than affect the employees. But like you had mentioned
Hmm.
before, some would really try to see what's the least amount you could possibly pay somebody, just so that you could squeeze more money out for yourself. And then you creating a hostile environment for your employees. They don't feel appreciated, and I mean, really and truly, it does affect your business as well. I mean, because if you look out for your employees and everybody else, they'll look out for you, and
For,
if they feel appreciated, they're gonna look out for you. But if you're taking advantage just to get profit, that's pretty messed up. There are some
and
owners of these companies that don't take any more than $400,000 salary, sometimes even less. Everything else
mhm.
goes into the business and into the employees. They could easily be making 5, 7, 8 million dollars, but they don't take that much because, for one, they don't feel like they necessarily need it, and two, they feel like that money could be used for much more, and for others that need it a lot more than them. And I feel like That's a very ethical way to go about business. It's less on the capitalistic end. They're more so thinking about others rather than the profit and the money for themselves. And we
I
need more
think
people
I
like that.
think this system I think this system drives us into a more inhumane experience.
Exactly,
And
definitely.
I think that's the biggest thing when you do travel and you see what's going on in other countries. And I'm not saying I'm here to praise every other country, because don't get me wrong, America has its good things about it and its bad things, just like any other country. But one of the things you notice when you go to these other countries is how they support each other a lot more than mom and pop shops, and they're not overcharging. Partly because of the way the economy is, they're not allowed to do that, and that's with me just being blanket and excluding the other crazy stuff that's going on. That's just me looking at that, because of course in those countries as well they have a system in place where it's not working for them either, where the money is just being hoarded in wherever place and not getting down to the community. But I'm just talking about how the people itself outside of the government supports each other. In America, I feel like that's kind of last. You know what I'm saying? All of us are not all of us, but a lot of us are selfish. Then even, and I don't want to make the whole episode about capitalism, but this even bleeds into our political system. You know what I'm saying? Because now the political system is benefiting from this for profit thing, because now the people on the top, the capitalists on the top, are going to boost whichever candidate they want, whatever the case may be, so that they could keep their profits coming. Like, well, by any
Right.
means, what I need to do, if I got to bribe, it don't matter what, I have to do this because I want to keep the profit. And if I don't do this, then the next person is going to just beat me out because they're willing to go to the lengths that I'm not willing to go. And then eventually that's going to make you be like, you know what? If he gonna just win doing it this way, I might as well just join him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it trickles down. And we only
Ex-
talk about it when it's the rich, the extremely rich people doing it, but really and truly, we doing it on our own level to each other. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And
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 in
I
that
I
case,
feel like
it
we need to
makes it much
identify
more
that.
worse. It makes it for the little people, quote unquote, that's doing it to each other. We don't have that type of money to be playing with compared to those millionaires, billionaires out there. I mean, what we should really be doing is working together as a community to make our community better for everybody and for each of us rather than looking out for ourselves. And the crazy thing is, I don't think people realize how much better of a environment it would be if we were to look out for each other in that way. It would, for one, it would be more fulfilling. It would be a happier place for everybody, including yourself mentally, everything spiritually,
Facts.
and it's a lot less stress on yourself for trying to reach those heights alone and without anybody else. I think that if we really sit down and look at the potential reality of going in that direction of being for each other, that it would be a better world. It would be a better place, and yeah, it'd be really just good
I,
vibes.
I think I attribute some of it to sometimes to a lack of self awareness and a lack of values. I feel like, and we have talked about this before. I feel like social media is pushing you in so much directions in terms of like you're seeing this people around your age and all this success. Everybody got a track car, everybody got a Hellcat, everybody got this. I know it making you feel like you're inadequate if you don't have these things.
Hmm. And
And that's and over time and repeatedly, if you're seeing these things, and not just cars and stuff, even like just trips, like taking trips, and sometimes you start to feel like even though you're not in a position to do it, you feel so bad about the fact that you can't do it, that you start to take on the mindset like, yo, whatever it takes. And that's what goes back to your point where you made about people really just going into a career field where they don't even give a shit about the career. They're really just in this career field because it's going to take off the dollar sign amount that they want to get to. Then they get to this dollar sign amount, and then they realize that they're not even that happy because they never had the solid values and stuff before. They got caught in the marketing trap, and that's what I like to call it now, the marketing trap of all the companies that's trying to pull you and tell you, hey, you must like this. Oh, you must have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house by the age of 24. Or you must be driving this nice car. Or and at the same time, you must be able to take 3, 4 trips a year. That's when you start looking at people like, how are they able to take these trips and et
man,
cetera, et cetera. Or you need to be able to go to Dubai and flex with your friends, or you need to be able to have the baddest phone. And then when you're in a position where it's like, all right, we have the microwave era where everything you want to be able to do it very quickly. So
right?
now it doesn't become, hey, let me grind it out because in 4 or 5 years I'm going to be able to afford all these things. It becomes, okay, what is the quickest shortcut for me to be able to beeline and get to these things that everybody else have that I want as well, or that I think I want as well, and I don't really care. So that's where you start getting like certain, and I'm not calling nobody out, but certain t-shirt brands and certain eyelash techs or so forth, and they coming out the gate and they trying to charge. Oh, I know how much the t-shirts cost. Let's be real, people. And I know time. I've been in that business. I've sold shirts. I know that we gain these shirts sometimes for $5, $6, $7, $8, and we're gonna come back and run a hit for 35. And don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting. Okay, you put in a lot of work, you want to make a certain amount hourly. But some of us are overcharging. Let's just call it what it is. Because you
Honestly,
want that lifestyle. No, you're willing to step on the box. Not thinking like, you know what, if I continue to grow and grow a good customer fan base, is going, you will have so much purchases, you're still going to get to that point. But because you want to take the vacations, no, you want, entrepreneurship has been getting pushed so hard. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, I love it, but it's getting pushed so hard. It's like, you know what, I want this thing, no, I want to be my own boss, no, I wanted to skip all the steps to be able to do so, I wanted to skip the education to be able to do so. Let me just put this out, charge a price. I'm going to justify this price by saying I gotta pay for this, for that, and bills increasing. All these people gonna complain about it, but I don't care, because all I'm worrying about is I need to make enough money off of, let's say if I sell 10, I need to make enough money to live the lifestyle that I
mm,
want, or the lifestyle that I perceive I want. And in the long term, when all of us doing this, not only in the entrepreneurship world, but even like we talked about in the career wise, it builds a loss of connection, because the reality is, even when you're chasing this bag so hard, a lot of the times you're not really getting to the bag. The natural course of things sometimes is still it's going to take hard work, still it's going to take the time, whether it be 2 years, 3 years, still it's going to take dedication, still it's going to take
definitely,
sacrifice.
and that is
But
something that
now
people
you're
don't
depressed
realize.
because you have convinced yourself you want it so much.
And that, you said it, man. That quick money mentality. I mean, I do attribute it mainly to social media and what's being pushed on an image of what success looks like. But yeah, this idea that things should happen quick, and then when it don't happen in a timeline that people want it to happen in, they start happening one place to the next, one place to the next, because they're trying to become rich within 1 year. They're trying to go from $1,000 to 3 million in a year, which is not common, people. That's not a normal thing. um and yeah, we see a whole bunch of social media famous people, everybody. I mean, half the time it's not real. Half the time, what you seeing on social media is not necessarily the truth. They ain't necessarily as successful as you think they are. You just don't know. And we try to fixate on what these people have, and comparison is a killer, man. It is a killer, because you're going to feel inadequate, like you said. You're going to feel like you ain't doing enough. You're going to feel like you're in the wrong place. You're not taking the right steps. Your journey is going in the wrong direction, when that's not necessarily the case. I mean, these things could take 10, 15 years to really get to that prime heightened highest level of income financially that you would reach. And it's not necessarily because you did something wrong, or because people better than you. That was just your journey. And people tend to use that quick money concept and just really get depressed from not being where they see others at. um so
Facts.
yeah, that chasing money for the wrong reasons is never going to end in a positive place. That's how I feel. Even if you
And then
were successful and you did get to that point of getting your money up the wrong way, when you hit 50, 60, a lot of regrets going to start boiling in. And then
facts.
you start giving people completely opposite advice from what you were doing at those ages when you started grinding in that direction solely for the money and nothing else.
And one thing my mentors have always taught me is always chase passion.
Right.
At the end of the day, right? We ain't gonna die with none of this money. And I do understand. And like I said, I'm not saying don't just neglect like trying to get money and so forth, but we don't need to hyper focus it. Like some of the things we're doing, and we're very creative people, we're very artistic people, we're very smart people. Some of the things we're doing are great and just need time to be able to bubble. You don't have to sit
Right,
on here and just dedicate yourself to a bag. Dedicate yourself to a craft or something that's going to secure the bag.
right.
You
Dedicated
see what
to a
I'm saying? That
passion, dedicated to a cause, dedicated to
facts.
something outside of the actual money component. I mean,
And
and then
then
once you put
it
that
starts with
grind
the
in and you focus on that passion, the money will come. The money will
it
come.
always gonna come.
It's gonna come.
And then
Once you put in the time and the work, it's gonna come.
it's also affecting, like you said earlier, the relationships, because now the expectation of both people are kind of heightened a little bit, and that's where you get these arguments about the 50-50 and the 70-20s and how much he said he providing and why you want me to do all these things while I'm working. It creates a lot of destructive conversations that's to me centered around the money. And to be honest, and even if we go into it, even like the prenup, and I've been a person for it, you know what I'm saying. But even to the prenup, like the conversation around money has gotten so ridiculous. Is like I have to get on a pot and say, "Yo, secure yourself with a prenup." You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that's not something I want to have to say. I want to
Right.
be able to say, you know what, we getting in healthy relationships where we're not so focused on the money that I got to be thinking about my assets and stuff before I even get married. I don't.
Hmm.
That's not something I am happy and joyous to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Though I'm one saying it should be mandatory. That's not something I'm excited to say. I rather it be the other way around. But just the dynamic of this money thing, and like we said earlier, everybody is trying to get it by any means necessary. You have people, and the easiest way to get it is through malicious intent. It's through the scamming. It's through the fake influencing on social media. It's through sometimes robbing. It's through selling drugs. It's through befriending people for the wrong reason. This thing is affecting everything. And then when you boil it all down, it goes back to the same thing I said. You start to lose that connection.
Right.
Like for me personally, I start to feel like a lot of relationships, and I'm talking about like intimate and friendship, starts to feel like a little superficial to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not really like for each. It's almost like, you know what, you can't be my friend unless I could benefit in some way.
Right. And
And don't get me
that's
wrong, I don't think you should have a friend where they bringing you down, but to like when I say to benefit, I mean like people really taking this thing serious. Like they have to damn near be helping me elevate through money and really money wise. That's what they want. They have to be elevating me in some way that I can make some more money. It's not, hey, this friend ain't really on top of their shit money wise, but they are a really good person to go to advice. They're a really good listener. No, is if this friend is broke, I can't fuck with them at all. And I've maybe said it somewhere. If you're in an environment with a bunch of broke people, you might get like that. But I said that kind of loosely, and I'm saying like you could still be friends with these people. Don't get me wrong. I don't think you should spend all your time with them. But now it's to the point where it's like, you know what, fuck them, cut them on off. Me and that shit with you.
hmm,
And I think that's very inhumane. Inhumane. These are the same people who could get to the point where they're doing well. You know what I'm saying? Or who need the help, who need somebody to, okay, they reach up and they come back and maybe pull them out a little bit, or at least pass the information along to get them to
right.
the next point. we
Right.
losing we losing connection as humans, yo.
Because we do also have to realize, like, especially in those situations where we may have friends that's not at that point or on equal grounds with us or above, where they say you want to be in a room where people are going to help elevate you. Sometimes you are the one to help elevate your friends. It's not necessarily always have to be you on equal grounds or below to elevate. I mean, and helping others will also just exercise that muscle and being able to teach. That's a whole new skill. I mean, that people don't even consider. Like you said, friendship is friendship. I feel like friendship comes from the soul, it comes from the heart, and we have integrated money and success into that conversation a little too much sometimes. Like you said, you don't necessarily have to hang out with them all the time, but if your friend is your friend, they're your friend for a reason. I mean, some people you outgrow for various reasons. Sometimes it is due to success, sometimes it's due to other things. Yeah, this that idea again of money and us being centered around it and fixated on this money and increasing our income is really, the connectivity is being lost in so many ways, and it's pretty sad to say. Like when you mentioned the prenup, I too agree that prenup should be mandatory, but it's just so unfortunate that it's to that point where you have to think about that, and that everybody is just thinking about the money. I mean, I'm sure some people even go into marriages with the plan to divorce because of money. I'm sure that people
Facts.
uh, only became friends with someone specifically because of money. They don't have anything in common. They don't, besides wanting to make money. They don't have anything, any connection. They don't have, and you can have intimacy within friendships. It's just not genuine. Oftentimes,
Bro,
it
I will tell you, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to get it started out. Remember when Brian in one of the episodes we were talking about marriages and he bring up the military?
mhm,
Listen, that's right there. Listen, it's so true. Like, and I'm not talking about the ones, well, on top of the ones who just getting married just for the benefit, right? You also have the ones who are in relationship where they like, but they still rush into a marriage
because of
because
the
the benefit
benefits,
exists.
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if you make an agreement with some random person, and that's not good. But it's one thing if you make a agreement with a random person, hey, let's get married for this money, whatever. That's still bad. But the next thing when you're in a legitimate relationship and you rush it, and now you kind of feel handicapped to the relationship for whatever reason, when the whole time you could have just take your time. And I'm not gonna sit on here and be a hypocrite. There's been things I have done myself, like, yo, I got to get to this bag, and me trying to cookie cut and skip the corners, and know that I'm being more aware of these things. I'm trying to live a more, I don't want to say maybe holistic kind of lifestyle, but a little bit more integrity behind the pursuit of these different things. You know what I'm saying? Because you really start to lose yourself. Like, you really
Right.
start to lose yourself in this chase, and then you don't realize it till you're in this state of anxiety, till you're in this state of depression,
Hmm.
and then you're looking back like, what? Who have I become? I remember the time when I was more happier. Whole time, the time when you were more happier was the time you didn't feel pressured by society to go make a whole bunch of money. When you feel comfortable with just being able to live comfortably and maybe have a little bit extra. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's the place you have to stay, but you have to be comfortable there. Mind you, I want to say again, we're not talking about the people who are struggling to keep a roof over their head, who are in these positions because that's how they have to be. I'm talking to the people who they can afford their rent. They can afford to eat. They still have a little bit of money to be able to save. They might not be able to take a trip every month, but if they save for 3, 4 months, they're able to take a trip. I'm talking to those people who are burning themselves out, who are sacrificing time from their children, who are sacrificing time from their loved ones, who are losing the connections within their family because they are so dead set on making this amount of money. Take your time. Most of the millionaires are 40s and above, bro. It's not what you think it is.
And a lot of
Everything on
them,
social media is hyper.
a lot of those same millionaires went through that route of just over fixating on money and not spending time with family and losing the connection with those around them. And I mean, I've seen many well, not podcasts, but videos of them just speaking in their later lives. They are, I wouldn't say miserable. I mean, some are, but just really sad that they actually missed the moments that matter.
But yeah,
They
drugs.
actually wasn't living in the moment. They wasn't present on a day-to-day basis with themselves and those around them, and they just had a tunnel vision and they completely missed out on life in between that. And you could live
How
a life
much,
without traveling every single month. I mean, if that's what you're into, cool. But some people feel like that's a mandatory standard for success, and they would do it to the detriment of their finances, even just to make it look a certain way. And yeah, so chasing money
bro?
always leads to
Go ahead.
some form of regret, some form of sadness, some form of sorrow
Facts.
when there's not some
How much?
integrity behind it, like you mentioned. So
How much videos we gotta see of these rich folks snorting coke, doing heroin. These people have real mental issues, bro, and that is part of it. Yeah, I mean, I think that, but talk to them.
Yeah. Some.
Talk to them and ask them. They're gonna tell you how important their family, how much they should have placed their family on a higher important skill. I saw it was on EYL, Earn Your Leisure, for those who know that there's two black guys really successful in the financial education space. They had Red Panda, I forget his name, but he was on there and he was talking about the values of different countries, how you go over there, and these people don't even work at certain times. Like these people have dedicated times where like, yo, bro, go be with your family. That's what matters in life. We're too busy chasing happiness and not investing enough time and joy. I picked that up from one of my friends. She put me onto that. Are you happy? Are you really happy, or are you living a joyous life? Because happiness is kind of temporary. Happiness will just kind of come and go. Like, it ain't all the time you're gonna be happy, but you live a life of joy. And I felt like that
Hmm.
was a interesting concept that I never really
Yeah. Never
thought
considered
about. You
that
know what I'm
before.
saying?
Yeah.
Cause you could be sad at the moment, but you still have a joyous life. You still give thanks, and you just sad in this moment. You're not happy. You know what I'm saying? You don't have
Right.
to be happy 24/7. That comes from that gratification. We feel like we have to be happy all the time. It is okay to not be okay.
Dude. And I will repeat that for the people, man. It is okay to not be okay, and just sit in that. Appreciate that you have other emotions other than happiness, because that only means that you are human, my guy, my girl. That's
Facts.
all that means. I mean, it is normal, and we all go through these phases of the roller coaster of emotions. That's just part of what it is to be human. And the fact that you
Just
could
this
feel
week,
other things is good. That means you're just not a robot, man. You're not drone just moving through life without feeling. You still feel. You still feel.
just this week, I was telling y'all how I was going through it, dog. And I still showed up to the podcast for my pattern vibes and get to pattern, man. It's okay, and share these things with people. It's important to be able to share your story and get some feedback, but it's okay not to be okay all the time, man. That is a part of life, like Tafari said. That's the part of the human experience. There is no such thing as happiness without sadness
Yeah,
or
definitely.
pain, you know what I'm saying? You
No
don't have
light
to put
without
on
the
the front all the
dark,
time.
no
No,
dark without the light. Yin and
you
yang,
know what
man.
I'm
It's
saying?
part of life, part of balance,
You
really.
have to be able to you have to be able to appreciate the bad moments in order to really appreciate the good ones.
Right?
Because I saw somebody say, and a lot of the time, sometimes it's a lot more bad moments sometimes than good ones. So you need to really put some emphasis into celebrating those good ones. I think Brian shared a video with me, and the video was like, bro, you said I don't remember the exact words, but the premise was, bro, we wake up every day moving like life is guaranteed for us. Like we gonna make it through the whole day and everything will be cool and we're gonna go sleep and wake up the next day.
Right. Uh,
And I don't want people to take that and go rush life. But you really gotta take some times and count your blessings, bro. I remember like there's times where I feel like, wow, but when you sit down here and count like and really dumb it down, like yo, I could sit here and pad. I could go inside and have a food in my fridge. Okay, if you don't have those, well, no, if you don't have those things, you're in a rough position. And I hope you could make it try. Saying a prayer for you.
right.
But just look at it. You know what I'm saying? Your kid's good. They're healthy. They could go to school. They get an education. But sometimes we gotta really dial it back. Like, bro, the money ain't everything, bro.
Right.
You ain't gonna
Right.
die with the money. You're gonna die with memories, and the memories ain't gotta be all money driven, bro.
Uh,
You guys, I had some good time, bro. The best times of our lives is when we were younger and broke.
when we were kids with no care in the world. I mean, to be fair, we were technically financially free, and that burden was on the adults.
Hmm.
When those simpler things, when we could have been happy and just enjoy the smallest things, picking up a piece of stick and fighting swords, and we just pirates and living life. I mean, we used to do crazy stuff, swing from coconut trees, branches,
Facts,
just
dog.
the small little things, and that just made the day for the rest of the day. That would sometimes make the week. Just how much fun you had in that small
Listen,
moment.
and the thing is, right? I get people that still want to live like that and do those kind of things. Like, 'cause I know some people gonna come and say, "Oh no, you were a child back then." Them things don't. No, it got some of us who still want to go and bounce house and
Dude,
bounce and
I feel like we should
still want to
all
go do these.
aspire to
Uh,
go back to being, feeling, and thinking like children. That's when we are our most creative, our most authentic, our most genuine. As children, we could learn so much more from kids than we think. We kind of go
Facts.
through life, go through school, go through the system, and then become part of that system. But children don't live in that system, dude. They don't. They're free. And that's something that we could learn from them, or be reminded of, I should say, because we were all children once. And then
And one of the big things. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, well, finish the talk. I was going to mention, I mentioned the video brands, and I was going to mention the next video as well. But
Okay,
finish the
I'll,
talk.
I'll close at the last stop then. The next thing about living childlike as well is void of criticism. We have so much pressure to keep up this certain image, so much pressure to plan on business, so much pressure to do this and do that. Like, bro, who cares? Who cares? And I say this as a person who might get off this part and still battle with trying to get over the fact that somebody may look at this a certain way. I'm not void of it neither. We all in the same
Right.
world and we're all fighting against the same thing. Some just doing it better than some. I don't want to say better, but some doing it in one way and other people are doing it in a different way. But who cares, bro? Who cares? Go out there and try something. What do you have to lose for real? Unless it's something that'll make you lose your life, you will be okay.
Hmm.
You will be okay. And as a matter of fact, what we're talking about getting to money, a lot of the attributes of these some millionaires that y'all want to be like, and I know this because I know some of them, they are risk takers. They don't care about the criticism. They're willing to look bad. They're willing to drive wrong the hoopty. They are willing to not have the baddest clothes. They are willing to be the person and say, nah, man, Deshaun boring. He gonna sit down in the house and he don't want to come out. They are willing to be these people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you're not going to be that because you're so worried about the criticism. You're so worried about trying to like fit in a sense. That in a sense, by you doing all these things, you losing connection with yourself and what you really want to do and who you really are. There's been points in my life where I found myself dressing up a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Really caring like and all these things just to be able to say, well, or I want to go to the club. Bro, I don't even go to these clubs no more. I would say right here in the pod, I do not like hip hop clubs. I hate them. But at one point, who was me? Out every single weekend, pretending that I like that.
Hmm.
Or trying to convince myself that I like that so I could fit into this mold and find some kind of peace to connect. When the whole time I just severing the connection with myself.
Hmm.
To come back the line years later to say, oh shit, you know what gonna really make me feel connected? If I go back to who I was in the first place and just say
Right.
fuck all of
Oh
that
my
bullshit.
gosh, bro. Just being true to yourself, being your authentic self is so empowering and so fulfilling. Back to that place. I mean, if you are one that's kind of going through the motions and trying to fit the mold that you're not, I mean, that ends up being a lonely place. That ends up becoming a very lonely place, especially after you step out of that shell and you remove that mask and you reach back home. Especially when you start to get more self aware and you kind of start judging yourself and feeling even disgusted at times that you was willing to step outside yourself that much that you kind of became someone you didn't even recognize. But yeah, getting back to who you are is probably the best thing that you could do for yourself, and that's easier said than done. Some people don't even realize they're not being themselves. Some people don't necessarily think that. Some
True.
people don't think that they lost connection with themselves in pursuit of whether it's money, social status, a certain friend group, and it really is something you need to do the work in being self-aware. Self-awareness has been I guess a continuous topic throughout our pattern, because
Facts.
self-awareness is the best thing you could do to really just find yourself and who you are.
And I want to say something about that too. I want to make it clear that there is no point where you could say you just fully self-aware,
Right.
in my
You
opinion.
continuously learning, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process. Like you're while you're establishing these values and stuff, and we're gonna get into this heavy in another part as well in terms of values and standards and boundaries. But while you establishing these things are due to change. It's just like they have to be a natural change and that you caused, not necessarily like something that you just force yourself into, you know what I'm saying? Like you at 23 It's impossible for you at 23 to be the same person and the same values at 40 years old with two kids, a husband or a wife. Some of your values may be the same, but as soon as you get kids, first of all, a lot of things can change because now you valuing a little bit future for your kids and you valuing making sure they have an education. Certain things that you may not even want it for yourself or
Right.
cared about for yourself, you may care about for them. You know what I'm saying? Like you may not have been the person that wanted to go to college, or you may not have been the person that wanted to be an entrepreneur, but maybe that's something that you kind of throughout your life experience, you've learned to value a little bit more as you go along. You realize maybe if I've done this and that's something that you want to pass over. So it's going to change a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So just understand that it's a journey, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? I don't know how to say that. I heard a
You
brilliant
evolve, you
quote.
adapt, and you really fine tune who you are and the morals, the values, the what that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta stop thinking that everything is like this destination where we get to and then things just halts. No, this is life. This is life. It's going to continue. The beauty of life is the joy of having the experience and being able to go through things, the highs, the lows, the stagnant times,
It,
and then being able to come and share this experience with your loved ones, share this experience with your friends, share this experience with the world. If you're doing podcasting or you're doing social media influencer, like that's the whole point. The whole point of making the money to go to Dubai is to be able to cool out and relax. But you could create some of these and don't forget to cool out and relax at home.
right. Right now. For those watching it right
Like
now,
right now,
just
like
take a deep
as
breath,
you listening right
cool
now.
out, cool out. Even if you're in the middle of your final exam, your final paper, take 2 minutes right now. Just breathe. Go outside if you could see the stars, and just cool. And then go back to what you're doing. Just be present in the moment for 2 seconds, 2 minutes,
Facts.
2 minutes, and just see how that feels. Go frolic in the grass outside, man. Dude, if you in the States, try walking outside barefoot. Grounding is a very powerful thing. Hey, just hey, so much stuff you could do. Just cool. You could do it right as quick as I just snap. You could just cool right now, right then.
And these are the tools. Whether y'all understand it now, or maybe you listen to this 3 times, or maybe you catch this when we on episode to 140 and you just tuning in and you catch this episode. Like these are the tools for real that's going to help you, or hopefully going to help you with the anxiety, the depression. I know you're gonna help you. Help me. You know what I'm saying? Now, the process of going about these things may be different from person to person. You know what I'm saying? What's comforting to me may not be comforting to you. I like to play golf. I like to play pool. I like to play game, like board games and things. I like to watch shows. That might not be your thing. But whatever is your thing, you need to be able to take a pause and identify that. And sometimes that means even just trying different things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then sometimes it
But
is
never give up on yourself.
sure, never. Sometimes you even might have a hobby that you used to do, you used to love, but because you got so driven to the financial direction you wanted to get in, you kind of left those things behind because it is a distraction. No, no, it was a hobby for a reason. You loved it for a reason. Try it. Just
Facts.
try it again. Try it one more time. See if it brings the joy that you used to have, and just continue to do it. It might not look as like what it did in the past, but it might have a space in your life right now that could be very helpful. That could be a place where you could de-stress and really recollect yourself for regaining your energy for the next day. So just try it. But well,
You
gonna
know what I
mention,
want people to do?
well,
This is the assignment. I want people to go to your friends, like the real friends, like the real people who used to really know you like that, and ask them if in the last 6 months, last year, if they feel. And then I don't want you to just take their word and go with it. But just ask them just to see, do you feel like I've been being myself? Ask them and see what the response is. Because sometimes, like you said earlier, you don't even realize it. And sometimes it may take somebody else noticing, like, yo,
right.
you've been acting a little
Hmm.
different. And you may not be. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying just because they say it, that's the case. But just asking the question, and maybe you hold that person opinion a highly, it may just spark it in your head, like, you know what? Or maybe ask them exactly what you've been doing. If they say, yeah, you ain't been being yourself, ask them what they think that you've been doing that's not like you. And then take it and see, like, yo, Is that something I really changed, or is that something I didn't even realize? I started that personality, that characteristic, or that hobby is something that's way outside of my element, and maybe that's something that I was influenced to do, and really and truly, that's not the person who I want to be, or
Hmm.
that's not really how I want to
And
live.
what I will also say on that is when you do ask that, I mean it could be a friend, family, the person that knows you best or the people that know you best. Sometimes it's not family.
Mhm.
To be present in what they're actually saying. I mean, you might not agree with what they're saying, but just listen to what they have to say without being defensive. Just take it in and then sit with that information, reflect on that information, try to connect it to where they may have seen it, or even ask the question where you seen it, and just
Facts.
reflect on it. Reflect on it and it by yourself, and
Yes.
see what answers you come up with after getting that information.
And for another assignment is to go out and ask somebody, hey, have you feel like you've been being yourself?
Mm,
Because the other person might not even be thinking about it at all. Like they just, just go out there and ask somebody, hey man, just wanted to check up on you, man. How you been feeling? You been feeling like yourself, or you been feeling great? And this is even if you notice, even if you didn't notice anything, this is just to spark the conversation.
right,
Sometimes sparking the conversation just enables the thought and enables an opportunity for somebody to self-reflect,
right,
thus
exactly,
helping self-awareness. And
exactly.
if we've been a part of this community and this human experience, and y'all listen to the Come True podcast, and y'all really feeling what we be talking about, we are here to help facilitate those conversations. That's the whole thing is about. So let's go out there and ask, hey, how have you been feeling?
Spit that
And let's
shit.
spark that conversation for somebody else, and let them think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, spit that shit.
And help them put that moment. And then if they give you a crazy reaction, that's your perfect time to say, hey, yo, maybe you should do this more often, and maybe I can help facilitate that. So how about every quarter, every 3 months, you hit me up, we put a reminder on our phone, use this technology that we love to be on, put a reminder on our phone, so let's check in with each other. And now y'all got a new healthy habit.
Right.
Y'all are promoting each other's self-awareness and mental health, and now you have opened up a space for people to be vulnerable and share some information with you.
This is what
I
is
feel like that's a.
called,
I wish I had a mic to drop.
man. That is a drop mic moment, and that is what is called real connection, people. Real connection outside of what we currently got going on right now with this money hungry world, dude. Real connection.
Real connection. Let me get some gratitude, man. What do you think?
Yeah, 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 for sure. I would love to give gratitude for right now. I'd say family, and those that around you that make you feel like you're home. I don't think home is necessarily a place. I think home is where the heart is. So I really do want to give thanks for family. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt right now. It said "Dad of a Heart Warrior" because my daughter did battle this heart thing, and she kicked its ass. But yeah, this shirt was from family. Just meet them for the first time. My wife's family, now mine, and yeah, they just spread the love, and it was really heartfelt. So yeah,
I gonna give gratitude to same thing, man. Friends and family. I've been going through some things. I had a conversation with a older guy, and we talked for about 2-3 hours, and it gave me a whole different perspective, and it really reassured, like, yo, no matter what you're going through, right? For one, just know you're gonna go through more. Just know
facts.
that. But just know it's a part of the beauty experience. It's something that you can take away, and you really are going to become stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like there's really sun at the end of these rainy days. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna rain forever. That's just not like how life
Just
works.
like it ain't gonna be
But
sunshine
sometimes
forever.
we can't identify. Yeah, sometimes we're not able to identify the sunny days because we're so focused and fixated on the rainy days. You know what I'm saying? If you sit down here and think about your problems so much, and all you do is dwell on problems, you're going to magnify these problems and make them bigger sometimes
Right.
than they really is. And these problems going to be big, and they're going to block out your sun, and you're going to
Hmm.
never realize that the sun is right there shining still right behind it all. It never went down. It's still shining right
Right.
behind it.
What you focus on becomes
So
your
don't
reality.
block your sun.
What you focus on becomes your
Don't
reality.
block your sun.
Yeah. Don't, because they really focusing on negative. All you're going to see is negative, and it will blind you from all the blessings that exist. And what I did want to bring up earlier was just the simple fact of waking up. So this video I see, the guy he simply asks, like, would you be happy right now if I was to give you $1 million? They said, yeah, I mean, I think I'll be happy with $1 million just for fun. And then he was like, would you accept that $1 million if you would have to be sick for the rest of your life? The person said, no, I don't think I would take that money for the rest of my $1 million to be sick. So he was like, okay, health is much more important than money. Then he was like,
Facts.
let's up the stakes. If I give you $10 million right now, but you can't, you're not going to be able to wake up tomorrow, would you take that $10 million? And the person was like, no, absolutely not. I want to live. And the point of all of that was just to say how precious and how valuable simply waking up is. I mean, regardless of what you're
Facts.
going through, regardless of what it is, and that's not me trying to discredit how the gravity of whatever you're going through is, but the fact that you wake up is probably one of the greatest blessings that you could ever have. I mean, it is really that powerful. It's not even worth $10 million. It's not worth $1 billion for most. It's not worth any amount of money because it's priceless. And that alone should be a reason to give thanks, to give gratitude, to wake up on the right side of the bed every day. I mean, the past is the past. It does not exist. Right now is right now, and you are able to wake up in that right now and continue to strut and do your shit. So it's not something to take lightly. It's not something to take for granted. It's something to really just express your appreciation for in whatever ways you can. And I think the best way to express that appreciation is to spread positive vibes and spread the love. You know, money is not all, money is not everything, and there's a lot more things that's much more valuable than money. So,
With that, give thanks for all the new followers.
mm-hmm.
Give thanks for everybody that been rocking with us this far. We are improving. We are getting better. Thank you for rocking with us in the trenches while we building this platform to what we know it can be and will be. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, whether it be in the comment section, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be reaching out to us personally. We appreciate all the love. But I guess that's my last piece of gratitude for our fans and the people who really vibing will come true, the people who have given us advice on how to go forward, the people who are giving us recommendation. Really appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Come be a part of the community. Share your story. If you want to come on the podcast, hey, just reach out. We're open to any story. If you disagree, agree with us. We are here to facilitate the conversations, like we said, and get the mind going and lead us to living a more joyful life and getting us out this rat race. Give thanks, and we out.
Peace over the heart.